So my pilot's been up there the whole time, so everyone's had a chance to read a little bit about my background. And I will apologize on behalf of Scott Anthony. He was supposed to be here last week and then got snowed in New York. When they moved the date, he got snowed in New York again. As you may have noticed, I'm about 2 inches taller than him, 50 pounds heavier, and I haven't written nearly as many books. So I'll do my best to try and keep up with what he would have said tonight. So a little bit about Innosight. Innosight is a small consulting firm. We specialize in practice of innovation. We were founded in 2000 by Harvard professor Clayton Christensen. He wrote The Innovator's Dilemma, The Innovator's Solution, and a series of other books about innovation. And Clay would be the first one to admit that his books were great to scare management, especially The Dilemma. The Solution gave them some thoughts on what they could do differently, but it really never got to the level of how do I put that into practice? What does my company need to do day in and day out? What do I do as a senior leader? What do my next layers of management need to do? What do the people underneath them need to do? How do we think differently about opportunities? So he found Innosight really in response to those questions that he was getting from leadership, which is to say, give me the tools to make this part of my corporate DNA. So we've spent the last 9 years since we were founded really practicing that mantra, which is to say, what can we do within organizations to make them give the innovation process more than just a theoretical model, more than just a bunch of beanbag chairs in a corner office someplace, but what is the day in and day out discipline that you can bring to innovation? And when you think about times like this, I think discipline is probably the key word, because innovation in most cases looks like a frivolous expense in some cases. People treat it as if something that can easily be chopped off with no impact on bottom line in the next 2 years. And while that may be true in some cases, the reality is you're just setting yourself up to fail 2 years from now as opposed to failing right now. So that's a danger. Companies need to recognize that. And I think what we spend a lot of time focusing on is how do we view the process of de-risking innovation. Most times when people look at innovation, they say, well, it's such a big bet, or it's such a big experiment, I don't think we can go there, I can't find the funds for it. So what can you do differently to bring that cost down? What can innovation do to say, if we could incubate 10 ideas at a time, it doesn't matter if 3 of them don't work out, we've got 7 more that we think will. Rather than putting all of your hopes and bets on one idea that, even in the face of negative information, you have to keep pushing because you've sold it to Wall Street, you've sold it to your employees, this is the future, and you're not going to back away from it. So let's look for opportunities to say, let's bring the cost to experiment down, let's bring the risk to experiment down, let's experiment more frequently. Let's accept some failure, let's learn from it, and let's move on. And I think that's part and parcel of the practice of innovation right now, especially in the downturn, is to recognize where can we be ruthless in that culling of ideas to make sure we're focusing the limited resources we have on the right ones, what is the process to bring those ideas forward? Because frankly, in this economy, it can also be a great time to accelerate the